When NBA YoungBoy's tour rolled into New Orleans, nobody could have predicted the chaos about to unfold. What happened after his sold-out showed the entire hip-hop community and raised serious questions about concert safety. But the real story, that's something you need to hear to believe. The New Orleans situation and tour madness. On October 19, 2025, rapper NBA YoungBoy, government named Kentrell Deshawn Golden, performed a completely sold-out show at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. Now, this wasn't just any regular show. This was part of his 8th studio album promo run, the Make America Slime Again tour, MASA for short. The vibes in that arena were going crazy. Thousands of fans packed in tight, all there to see one of the most controversial and raw figures in the rap game right now. The concert itself, it went smooth. But yo, the real drama that popped off after the show ended, my guy. Here's where things get absolutely wild, bro. After the concert wrapped up, NBA YoungBoy was spotted walking through downtown New Orleans, hitting up the famous Canal and Bourbon streets. And here's the crazy part. He'd have no personal security, no bodyguards, no shooters, nothing. Just picture that for a second, fam. One of the biggest names in hip-hop. An artist whose whole tour has been marked by straight threats and show cancellations. Just casually walking through one of the busiest party districts in America with zero protection around him. Like, bruh, what could possibly go wrong with that move? Well, predictably, everything went left or almost everything. An enthusiastic mob of fans quickly swarmed him in what can only be described as straight chaos that rapidly escalated into an absolute frenzy. We ain't talking about just a few people here, my guy. We're talking about hundreds of fans who mobbed up on the rapper's location. The situation wasn't violent in the traditional sense. Nobody was throwing hands. Nobody pulled straps. No weapons came out. But it was overwhelming in a way that could have easily turned deadly in seconds. On God. The whole scene went down in the early morning hours after that October 19th show around 2 to 3 a.m. on October 20th. While there wasn't no violence, the overwhelming hype led to mad pushing, shoving, and fans straight blocking off pathways completely. Picture being in that crowd. The energy, the excitement, everybody wanting to get close, wanting to touch him, snap a flick, have that one moment with their favorite rapper. Now, picture being NBA YoungBoy dead in the center of that hurricane of people. The rapper looked mad hesitant, clearly uncomfortable with how fast the whole situation was spiraling out of control. That's when NOPD, the New Orleans Police Department, stepped in and yo, their response was straight dramatic. Officers physically lifted NBA YoungBoy, like literally picked homie up off his feet and carried him to a waiting whip to ensure his safety. Multiple videos caught this whole moment from different angles, showing the police literally hoisting the rapper above the crowd, rushing him away from the mob of fans. It's the type of scene you'd expect from a movie, not real life, straight up. The good news, no arrests were made, no criminal incidents got reported, and the rapper appeared physically unharmed, though he was clearly shaken by the whole ordeal. But here's what makes this incident even more significant. Fam, the police response was actually part of a pre-planned operation based on threat intel they had received. This wasn't cops randomly stumbling upon a crowd and just reacting on the fly. Law enforcement knew something could pop off. They had intelligence suggesting potential problems, and they were posted up and ready, which raises an obvious question. If the police knew there could be issues, why was NBA YoungBoy out here sliding through the streets without his own security team? His security was notably ghost during this whole incident, leaving him to rely entirely on venue and police support. To this very day, neither NBA YoungBoy nor from his camp has issued any statement about what went down, which only adds to the mystery and concern surrounding the whole situation. No cap. The footage from that night went absolutely viral, my guy. Multiple clips got shared all over X, formerly known as Twitter, and various hip-hop news sites showing the mob and police intervention from every angle you can imagine. One primary video from hot new hip-hop caught fans surrounding him on Bourbon Street with officers picking him up and carrying him away. An extended clip from No Jumper showed the initial walk with his crew turning straight chaotic, with the police escort jumping in around 10 seconds into the footage. There was even a full sequence from Live Bites showing over 2 minutes of the post-con walk, the mob building up, and the complete police rush to extract him from danger. These videos racked up tens of thousands of views within hours, with users commenting on the rapper's vulnerability and the intense loyalty and passion of his fan base. The discussion online ranged from real concern for the artist's safety to people criticizing his team's decision to let him walk around with no protection to props for the police response that potentially prevented something tragic from happening. But yo, this New Orleans incident, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the madness surrounding NBA YoungBoy's mass NASA tour. Let me put you onto the bigger picture, because what's been popping off throughout this whole tour is genuinely concerning on everything. This event highlighted ongoing security challenges for NBA YoungBoy's tour, which has faced multiple cancellations and heightened threats from ops and rivals. The New Orleans shows weren't playing no games. The concerts prompted one of the largest police deployments for a concert in the city's history, with over 400 officers posted up on duty. 400 cops, bruh. For perspective, most concerts might have a few dozen security personnel at most. This was straight military-level operations, which tells you everything you need to know about the real concerns surrounding this tour. NBA YoungBoy's tours have historically drawn massive high-energy crowds because of his cult-like following, like his fans really be riding for him. But they've also been plagued by mad safety issues. This ain't new. It's a pattern that's been building up over time. Let me walk you through some of the other wild incidents that have marked this tour. Fam. The Atlanta show on October 19, 2025 got completely scrapped after his crew clashed with the police at State Farm Arena. This wasn't no minor disagreement. This was a straight physical confrontation between the rapper's team and law enforcement over security protocols. The show never even happened. Fans who traveled to Atlanta got left disappointed and mad questions started circulating about what exactly went down behind the scenes. You feel me? Back in September on the 7th, fans straight ambushed his whip after a concert at Houston's Toyota Center. Then on October 2nd in Washington, D.C., a whole mob of fans swarmed his vehicle after he waved to them. These incidents show a disturbing pattern. Every single time NBA YoungBoy tries to connect with his fans, every time he makes himself accessible to the streets, straight chaos pops off. Perhaps most frightening of all, on September 11th in Los Angeles, his concert had to be completely evacuated because of reports of gunfire. Imagine being at that show, the panic, the stampede for the exits, not knowing if shots really got fired or where the threat was coming from. Thankfully, nobody got hit up. But the psychological impact on everyone in that venue must have been crazy traumatic. But as concerning as all these incidents are, they don't even compare to what went down at the Kansas City stop of this tour. What unfolded at the T-Mobile Center on September 21st wasn't just concerning, it was straight horrific. And that's where we're headed next. The Kansas City assault, a vicious beatdown. If you thought the New Orleans fan mob was bad, you ain't heard nothing yet, my guy. What happened in Kansas City represents something way darker, way more disturbing, and it raises serious questions about safety at concerts that we really need to address head in. No cap. On September 21st, 2025, during NBA YoungBoy's sold-out Massa Tour concert at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri, a violent assault went down that would shock the whole nation and ignite mad debates about youth violence, concert safety, and accountability. The victim, a 66-year-old venue employee named Thomas Schlenga. The perpetrator, a 14-year-old shorty at the show. The reason, a seating dispute. Yeah, you heard that right. A seating dispute, bro. Let me walk you through exactly what popped off, because the details of this beatdown are genuinely difficult to process. On God, the assault occurred around 9:30 p.m. inside the arena during NBA YoungBoy's performance. Thomas Schlang was working as a guest services employee. He'd been doing this job for 17 years, helping fans out, making sure everybody was in the right seats, keeping things organized and running smooth, just doing his job like he'd done thousands of times before without issue. Other concert goers flagged him down because a young cat was sitting in the wrong section. Standard procedure happens at every single concert. Schlenga approached the teen and politely asked him to move to his correct seat. What happened next was anything but standard fan. The confrontation escalated with shocking speed, like 0 to 100 real quick. The teen pushed Thomas Schlenga to the ground, then proceeded to beat on him, repeatedly landing punches to both the face and body. We ain't talking about 1 or 2 punches here, my guy. The attack lasted approximately 20 to 30 seconds, with the teen landing over 10 clean punches on the elderly man while he was laid out on the ground. The beatdown was so vicious it broke Thomas Schlenganger's nose and left him with serious facial bruising and injuries. But yo, it gets worse. When a security guard tried to intervene and break up the assault, that security guard got attacked by the teen too. Think about the level of rage, the complete lack of self-control required for a 14-year-old to not only brutally beat down a man old enough to be his grandfather, but then to attack anyone who tried to stop him. That's wild, bro. The whole incident got caught on multiple cell phones by people at the show. And those videos quickly went viral on social media, sparking widespread outrage over the brutality and the vulnerability of elderly workers just trying to make a living. The footage is genuinely hard to watch. No cap. You see Thomas Schlenga, a 66-year-old man just trying to do his job, getting thrown to the ground. You see the teen charging at him, slamming him down onto the concrete floor. You see punch after punch raining down while bystanders are screaming. Some people pulled out their phones to record instead of helping. Finally, somebody steps in. That somebody was a concert attendee named Antonio Clater. And his story deserves to be told because in an arena full of people, he was the only one brave enough to physically step in and stop the beatdown. Let me put you on to what Antonio Clater witnessed and what made him jump in. In an interview with Fox 4 News, he described the horrific scene. Clater broke down what he saw in those crucial moments. The kid just keeps coming down. Kid just pushed him. Snap. Yeah, he just spazzed out and he pushed him. His reasoning for stepping in was simple but powerful. Like, I have family members that are that age. This isn't right. Like, I have elders. I was raised with morals and values you can't act like that, especially to our elders on everything. Antonio Clater's bravery cannot be overstated. Fam, in a moment when everyone else was either recording on their phones or frozen in shock, he put himself at risk to save a complete stranger. He had no idea if the teen was strapped with a weapon, no idea if he'd get jumped next, but he acted anyway because it was the right thing to do. That's real street code right there. Thomas Schlanganger got rushed to the hospital immediately with what were thankfully non-life-threatening injuries, including the broken nose and severe facial bruising. In later interviews with media outlets, Schlang said he remembered very little of the actual beatdown due to the shock of what happened to him. Imagine that the trauma was so severe that his brain essentially blocked out the memory of those 20 to 30 seconds of pure brutality. The teenage attacker, a 14-year-old young cat whose name hasn't been released because of his age, got detained on site by Kansas City Police Department officers. However, he was initially released to a guardian pending investigation. The good news is that no weapons were involved in the assault, and remarkably, the incident didn't disrupt the concert. Overall, NBA YoungBoy's performance kept going while Thomas Schlanganger was being treated for his injuries. The videos from that night spread like wildfire across the whole internet, going absolutely viral. One eyewitness, Robert McDaniel, described the attack to the Daily Mail in stark terms. He beat him up because his ticket was in another section. He broke his nose. The videos showed everything. The teen charging at Schlenga, slamming the elderly man down onto the floor, landing over 10 solid punches while bystanders were screaming, and eventually Antonio Clater and others finally stepping in to pull the attacker off. The primary viral video shared by TMZ and all across X showed the full assault sequence lasting approximately 45 seconds, with the teen straight pummeling Schlenga on the floor. An eyewitness clip from the Kansas City Star provided an alternate angle showing the initial shove and the crowd's shocked reaction to the violence. These clips collectively racked up millions of views with hashtags like Dwan NBA YoungBoy Fight trending all across social media platforms. The public reaction was swift and intense, my guy. The incident drew sharp criticism from multiple corners, with Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas publicly denouncing the violence. What made this particularly ironic was that the mayor had praised NBA YoungBoy's anti-violence initiatives and stopped the violence advocacy earlier that same day, creating an uncomfortable situation between the rapper's stated message and what actually went down at his show. But to truly understand what happened in Kansas City and New Orleans, we need to look at the bigger picture, fam. We need to examine the broader pattern of violence at rap concerts, including one of the deadliest incidents in concert history that changed everything. The bigger picture, rap violence and concert safety. In the hood. The incidents on NBA YoungBoy's mass tour didn't just happen out of nowhere, my guy. They're part of a larger, deeply troubling pattern of violence at rap and hip-hop concerts that has been building up for years now. To truly understand what's really happening out here, we need to look at the history, the statistics, and most importantly, the tragic precedent that changed everything in the industry, the Astroworld Festival tragedy. On November 5, 2021, at the Astroworld Festival in Houston, Texas, a catastrophic crowd surge during Travis Scott's headlining performance led to the deaths of 10 attendees aged 9 to 27 due to compression asphyxiation, with hundreds more getting injured. This wasn't just another concert incident. It became one of the deadliest concert disasters in United States history. And it fundamentally changed how the industry thinks about concert safety, especially at hip-hop events with passionate fan bases. Let me walk you through what went down at Astroworld, because the parallels to NBA YoungBoy's tour challenges are striking even though the circumstances are different in some ways. The Astroworld Festival was a hip-hop music event that Travis Scott both headlined and organized himself. It took place at NRG Park in Houston on November 5, 2021. The victims included a 9-year-old shorty named Ezra Blunt, a 22-year-old woman named Party Shawnee, and 8 others ranging in age from 14 to 27. Over 300 people got injured, with 25 requiring hospitalization with serious injuries. These weren't just statistics or numbers. These were real people from the community with families with futures ahead of them, all taken out in a matter of minutes. The cause was a crowd surge that popped off during Travis Scott's set around 9:30 p.m. The dense crowd of approximately 50,000 people compressed toward the stage, causing people to literally suffocate from being crushed. Investigations later cited poor crowd control, oversold tickets, and inadequate planning as primary factors that led to the tragedy. The event was a disaster waiting to happen. Straight up. The festival was sold out with a capacity of 100,000 people, with over 50,000 concentrated in the area where Scott was performing. Way too many people packed into one space. Even before the show started, fans breached the entry gates and rushed in, foreshadowing the overcrowding nightmare that would eventually unfold. Most controversially, Travis Scott kept performing for approximately 40 minutes despite visible signs of distress in the crowd, stopping only briefly twice before continuing the show. At 9:38 p.m., the Houston Police Department declared it a mass casualty event, but the show didn't actually end until around 10:15 p.m. By then, 8 victims were already deceased, with 2 more dying later from their injuries sustained in the crush. The videos from Astroworld are genuinely haunting. No cap. Fan-recorded footage captured people collapsing, screaming for help, desperately trying to get the attention of security and staff members. One particularly disturbing clip shows a fan climbing onto a platform, begging the cameraman to stop the show because people were literally dying in the crowd. The sense of helplessness, the chaos, the realization that something horrible was happening, but nobody with power was stopping it. It's genuinely traumatic to watch. Bro Travis Scott dropped statements expressing his devastation and offered refunds and therapy funds to affected fans and their families. The event's organizers, Live Nation and Scoremore, immediately faced a tsunami of lawsuits from victims and their families. The legal aftermath was absolutely massive, my guy. Over 2,800 lawsuits got filed, including wrongful death claims from victims' families seeking justice and accountability. These cases were eventually settled by 2024 for approximately $2 billion in total payouts. Notably, despite the massive civil settlements, no criminal charges were filed against Scott or the organizers. A grand jury declined to indict anyone in June 2023, which disappointed many people seeking criminal accountability. The Houston police investigation produced a report spanning 1,066 pages released in 2023, which cited inadequate planning, delayed emergency response, and Travis Scott's history of encouraging wild, rowdy crowds as contributing factors that led to the deaths. The report revealed some shocking details. There was only one medic for every 800 attendees, way below the recommended ratio of 1 medic per 500 people. The layout of NRG Park created dangerous choke points that trapped people with nowhere to go as the crowd pressed forward and crushed them. The tragedy prompted congressional inquiries and led to new festival safety legislation in Texas, with the Astroworld Safety Act passing in 2023. This law mandates stricter crowd control plans and real-time monitoring for large-scale festivals to prevent another tragedy like this. Now, you might be wondering, how does Astroworld relate to what's popping off with NBA YoungBoy's tour? The connection is both direct and indirect. Fam directly, Astroworld changed how venues and law enforcement approach hip-hop concerts in urban areas. The massive police presence at NBA YoungBoy's New Orleans shows, those 400-plus officers posted up, that's a direct result of lessons learned from Astroworld, the cancellations in Chicago and Atlanta. Those are preventive measures informed by what went down in Houston. But there's a broader pattern here that we really need to acknowledge on God. NBA YoungBoy's 2025 tour is just the latest in a troubling series of incidents at rap concerts across the country. Let me put you onto some context. On September 10, 2025, during the Massa Tour stop in Los Angeles at the Crypto.com Arena, 2 women in the crowd broke into a straight physical fight, prompting NBA YoungBoy to pause the show and intervene from the stage. Separately during that same show, the rapper confronted a fan for throwing objects like water bottles at the stage, yelling threats at them. The incidents reflected the tour's high energy, chaos, and wild energy, but didn't halt the performance overall. That September 24, 2025, Chicago concert I mentioned earlier got canceled hours before doors even opened, specifically due to fears of violence stemming from NBA YoungBoy's ongoing beef with Chicago rapper Lil Durk, including diss tracks and actual gang affiliations between their crews. The United Center enforced a strict no-bag policy beforehand, citing safety concerns from street threats, and fans outside clashed briefly while dispersing after learning about the cancellation. Full refunds got issued, and thankfully no major physical violence or shootings occurred at the venue. But the incident highlighted the tour's ongoing risks and street politics involved. But yo, it's not just NBA YoungBoy's tour that's been wild. The problem extends across the whole hip-hop concert landscape. On October 11, 2025 in Paris, France, a free outdoor rap concert by French rap group L2 got cancelled mid-event due to overcrowding, with thousands of fans mobbing up at the Forum des Halles. What happened next was absolutely horrific and wild. After the cancellation, a mob of fans straight rioted, with some attackers beating a plainclothed police officer unconscious on the ground, while others injured 3 additional officers in violent clashes. Vehicles got vandalized and clashes lasted for hours, resulting in 4 officers being hospitalized and 15 arrests for assault and rioting. In June 2024, Travis Scott held a surprise pop-up rap performance at the Queens Night Market in New York. Approximately 5,000 fans rushed the barriers in a stampede, leading to stampede-like conditions with mad pushing and assaults on security guards trying to control the crowd. Several people got injured from being trampled, eerily echoing Scott's Astroworld tragedy. The event got shut down early with multiple hospitalizations, but thankfully no fatalities this time. At Rolling Loud Miami in May 2024 at Bayfront Park, multiple fights broke out during rap sets, including a brawl that injured 3 fans and a shooting outside the venue that left 1 person wounded. High-energy mosh pits turned violent amid ongoing street beef in the rap community, like the Drake-Kendrick Lamar diss track exchanges playing in the background of the whole festival. So, what does all this tell us, fam? Is there really a direct connection between rap music and violence? Or is something else going on here that we need to understand? This is where we need to be very careful and nuanced in our analysis. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Public Safety Research found a 15% rise in assaults at U.S. music festivals from 2018 to 2023. But crucially, rap concerts were not disproportionately violent compared to EDM raves, rock concerts, or even country music events. The data simply doesn't support the narrative that hip-hop is uniquely violent compared to other genres. However, rap shows face significantly stricter scrutiny from authorities and venues. Venues like the United Center enforce strict bag bans for rap concerts, but not for pop shows with predominantly white audiences, which raises questions about racial bias and security policies. There are several factors that do contribute to risks at rap concerts specifically, though. First, rap concerts tend to attract younger crowds from the hood, typically ages 15 to 25, who are statistically more prone to impulsive behavior and haven't fully developed conflict resolution skills. Second, artist rivalries and street beefs can create genuine safety concerns. NBA YoungBoy's ongoing conflicts with ops and rivals have led to credible threats on his life, which is exactly why Chicago canceled his show to prevent potential shootings. Third, many rap artists cultivate intense high-energy fan cultures that can be difficult to control once the energy gets too lit. Travis Scott's rager culture and NBA YoungBoy's slat following create environments where crowd control becomes extremely challenging. Fourth, and this is critical, many venues and organizers inadequately prepare for the specific challenges of rap concerts in urban areas. Understaffing, poor planning, and inadequate security protocols create dangerous conditions that can lead to tragedy. The Astroworld tragedy is the prime example. The event was simply not prepared for the type of crowd it attracted and the energy that would be present. There's also an element of media bias that we can't ignore. Fam incidents at rap concerts receive significantly more coverage and negative scrutiny than violence at other types of music events. A 2024 EDM festival brawl at Lollapalooza in Chicago with 10 injuries received far less media attention than NBA YoungBoy's Kansas City assault. This creates a feedback loop where rap gets associated with violence in the public consciousness, even when actual data doesn't support a unique connection to the genre. Since Astroworld went down, there have been significant efforts to improve concert safety across the industry. The Texas Astroworld Safety Act mandates real-time crowd monitoring and stricter capacity management at large festivals to prevent another mass casualty incident. Venues have implemented enhanced security measures. The 400-plus officers posted up at NBA YoungBoy's New Orleans shows represent this new reality of heavy police presence at hip-hop events. Some venues have instituted strict bag bans specifically for rap-heavy events, though this practice itself is controversial and arguably discriminatory against hip-hop culture. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.